The Grotti GT500, is it a good vehicle? Is it perhaps the most fun sports classic car in the game? And ultimately, should you buy it? Those are some of the questions we'll be answering in this video. Now, the Grotti GT500 is a sports classic vehicle that comes in at $785,000 on the Legendary Motorsport website. It is quite expensive for a sports classic, especially one that isn't the top of its class, but it does have some really fun features. Now, I just want to give some props to Rockstar because they have taken their advertisement game to the next level. Back in the day, we would just get some random screenshot of the vehicle in game, but this is actually pretty cool. And it's very fitting for the GT500 because this vehicle is an absolute beauty. In my opinion, it may be one of the best looking sport classic cars in the game. So if you are a fan of good looking sport classic cars, this is one you have to pick up. Now, it does have some negatives, which I'll go ahead and get out the way first. The handling on it is somewhat weird. Now, this is also a Pro, which I'll talk about in a second, but the car is very light. And because of that, it gets tossed around very easily. If you hit a little bump, or if you hit a stop sign or something, the car will start spinning, it will fly around. Also, you can't really run anything over. Really, cars are going to run into you and spin you out. So that is somewhat of a negative for this vehicle. Another negative, and I don't really know if you would consider this a negative, but it isn't the best in its class in terms of top speed and acceleration. It's decent, it's good, but you'll see here in just, a simple drag test on the freeway, the GT500 had a lap time of 26.527 seconds, where the Turismo Classic had one at 24.418, and the Viceris had one at 23.756. Now, the Viceris is broken, so that's to be expected, but it is 2 seconds slower than the Turismo Classic, so you can get somewhat of an idea of how that may translate into longer races. Now, the one thing I will say regarding racing, this thing's traction is insane. So what it lacks in top speed and all that, it has in traction. And that's probably the most fun feature about this car. When you throw it around a corner, you're gonna do this really cool drift, but you're not gonna lose control very often. I mean, if I can do it pretty consistently, I feel like most people can as well. Now, you sort of have to flick the stick, but because it's so light, it will just glide around those corners. Now, unfortunately, yeah, you got to deal with NPCs, so maybe if you are just doing, some cool or some races with friends, then y'all can do this without NPCs, but driving it around, I had a lot of fun with it. One of the other super fun features and unique features about this vehicle is the engine sound. The engine sounds incredible. Maybe one of the best engine sounds in the game. Now, one thing you may want to look out for, because I know some people may get annoyed by this, but by putting the turbo option on the car, you actually get somewhat of a different sound. You can actually hear the turbo a little bit. So if you don't like hearing that turbo sound, then you may not want to put it on. I'll go ahead and let you guys hear the difference. We'll start without turbo, and then I'll put turbo on, and you can decide for yourself if it is worth the money. So yeah, it's not much, but it is something. If you have your sound turned up a lot, you may notice it and you may not like it. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, somewhat in the con category, there isn't much customization. There's only a few options, but really, when you have these vehicles that look good by themselves, I don't really consider that a con, because you don't need customization to make it look good. The last thing I will say before getting into my final thoughts on this vehicle, the first person view is actually amazing. Not too sure how many people use the first person view, but it is super wide. You can see a lot in front of you and you can actually see the speedometer. So Rockstar nailed it with the first person on this vehicle. Now, with all that being said, is this car good and should you buy it? Now, $785,000 is a pretty hefty price tag, especially for a vehicle that doesn't really serve much purpose in the game. Like, I don't see many people using this in races, and obviously if you're using this in free roam in a public lobby, you're gonna have to deal with people trying to blow you up because everyone has weaponized vehicles now and you will explode in one shot. But honestly, even with all that, I think this is a great addition to your garage. I mean, especially if you like collecting grotty vehicles, you have to have this. In my opinion, it is one of the best looking sports classic cars, so just on that alone, I would buy it and put it in my garage. And like I said, it just is so much fun to try and get those sort of like flick corner turns where your car just slides through. Not too many vehicles in the game you can do that with, and the fact that this one does look good while doing it, that's a huge plus. Like you saw in the performance clips, the acceleration and the top speed, they're not great, but they're also not bad. They're just middle of the line. But what you lack in that, you gain in the traction, and you gain in the ability to just do cool stuff that you can't do in most other vehicles. So I would say, yeah, buy it. Obviously, if you don't have enough money, you may want to save for some of the upcoming sport or supercars. This is somewhat of a niche vehicle, but it just does what it does so well that I think we should reward Rockstar for making a pretty sweet vehicle. But that is my review on the Grotti GT500. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Did you buy it? Did you not buy it? Anyway, thank you all for watching. If you do want a chance to win some free money, I'm doing that shark card giveaway, picking the winner later on today, so go enter to win that if you want a chance for some free money. But anyway, thank you all, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.